the reason I'm so excited that you're here is because of what it is that I have to share with you and what it is that I have to give, not how much money I make. And that is not just for the warm-up. You're going to hear me talking about that same theme throughout this program, because it's about what you have and what you are and who you are that helps you manifest your life, okay? And we're going to go into details. We'll take our time, we'll warm up, we'll move through some things. You got some colorful notebooks that I want you to use during the program. You don't have to chicken scratch all the notes, but I'm going to have you open up that notebook at certain points and say, write this thing down, okay? And I want you to etch that, and you can write it big, you can write it colorful, you can write it quick, whatever the case may be. And then also we gave you guys here who are here physically, I gave you just a little couple of cheat sheet, something to go back to. It's also something for me to look at here and there to make sure that we are covering what it is that I want to cover today. So, without further ado, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and exhale your breath. Exhale it first, and then take a deep breath in. Whenever you do that, okay, you are actually literally turning on your brain function. You're getting more oxygen, you're turning on your brain, you'll be able to listen better, you'll be able to hear better, and you'll have more energy, all right? So after you do that once, I'd like you to do it 2 more times, because the first one is never really that great. So see if you can catch up with the second breath and the third breath, okay? And again, you're doing this to have a pause and to turn on your mind for a moment, like to be wakeful, okay? So that we can talk about some, juicy subjects, okay? And get into some details about some juicy subjects. And that you might actually grasp something that I'm saying. So before I go into the bigger pieces about some of these juicy topics like the law of attraction or the law of expectation and some of these deeper ideas, I want to bring to your attention that one of the biggest issues that everybody is having in terms of manifesting, creating, attracting, different ways to say that, what they want into their life is because of this thing called reaction. Now on your page, you don't have to look, but I put it further down on the list, but as far as teaching to you live right now, it's the first thing I want to tell you about. I asked you to take 3 deep breaths, and I told you that that turns on your mind. That's the idea. Exhale, inhale, turn on the mind. But it's also a form of de-stress, right? De-stressing, we all know that. But what a lot of people don't know is that your life is like Groundhog Day, which I wrote about in my book. And if you ever seen Groundhog Day, Bill Murray is living the same day, every day, over and over and over again. Every day is Groundhog Day, and he cannot seem to change it. So anybody that has seen that movie, all right, and got it to any degree, it's a watered down version of the law of attraction and spiritual teachings and things of this nature. But anybody that understood what that was all about realized that he was living the same life day after day after day because he was doing what? What was he doing?
Same thing.
He was doing the same thing, but what else was happening? Wasn't he being a little shady? He's been a little shady, right? He's all he wanted to do is sleep with the girl. He's just trying to tell her whatever he needs to, just so she'll go to bed with him. He's trying to manipulate people in town. He's totally being shady, right? And he thinks he's getting away with it. He's I'm getting away with this. I'm eventually going to get what I want. And, it was only an hour and a half long movie or whatever it is, right? But the scene repeated over and over and over and over again. In your life, that might go on for 50, 60, 70, 90 years. Okay? I want to tell you a secret. Go ahead and take a deep breath. I'm going to ask you to do that throughout the program. Exhale. And if this makes it to people and they're at home listening to this, you take a deep breath. Just because I'm not watching you, I'm watching you from over here. Take a deep breath. Because the deep breath, I'm not just saying, hey, take a deep breath. This whole time I'm going to be teaching you philosophy that I'm telling you, being a practitioner who has changed and healed his spine, changed his family dynamics, healed from alcoholism and all these other things that my family had going on, healed the spinal disease that the doctor said would cripple me, put myself through 2 rounds of college, paid for all these things that my parents didn't believe in or anything else, left my family, found a way to mega multiply. It's not like I'm a mega millionaire or something right now, but I've mega multiplied where I started in terms of what I make, how I make, what I create for other people. And for many years I've been telling people, I have salt and pepper in my kitchen and I have a lot of people to feed. And for somebody who didn't have enough money in his bank account, didn't have enough energy in his tank, all those other kinds of things, and didn't have the support, seemingly, from my family and other people, I have made things happen for the last 30 plus years, which is why you all are sitting here right now. Because I've done seminars here locally. You know what I'm up to. Some of you, if not all of you, have been to healing clinics. You've been to seminars. You know what I got going on. You've heard other people get up and tell stories, Melissa included. I'm off of 7 medications now. I've lost 35 pounds now over the last year. I'm doing all these things I couldn't do before. And you're hearing stories like that, and part of you is probably, if you're here, you're probably saying, I want a little bit of that, right? So I'm not here to sell you some kind of product. Yeah, I brought a book here today, and some of you want to buy the book, I'll sell you the book. But here's the thing. I'm not here, I don't have a bunch of products on the shelf, and I want to sell you the next miracle cure and all this, pardon my French, but crap. I'm going to tell you why it's crap. You pick the best product on the market right now. I don't care what it is. Pick it. Tell me what it is. Vitamin E, what's the new best thing? Tell me something. Give me a product. Anything.
CDC oil.
CDC oil. All right, give me another one. Acupuncturist in the room, what you got? What's your favorite herb?
Teasel root.
Teasel root. All right? Here's the thing. And some people listen to the tape at home and can be offended by the fact I said this. But here we go. Teasel root is crap. In comparison to how you're hardwired. And I'm going to tell you a secret. Why people want to sell you teasel root. Not Leon included. All right? He wants to sell it to you because he wants to help you. It's an addition. He knows it's an extra piece of something. You understand? He knows it's an extra. He knows it's an extra piece. He knows it's not going to be the be-all and end-all. That's why he's here tonight, and that's why he does Qigong, and so on and so forth. All right? It is because of how you are hardwired. And most people don't want to tell you that because they don't really know it themselves. They haven't experienced it. And because they haven't experienced it, they're trying to sell you something else to make a living. I am not here to make a living. I am here to thrive. If during this program you don't like something I say and you happen to leave, whatever the case is, I know I did my job. I'm not here to shut up about how you're hardwired and shut up about how incredibly spiritual you are and how incredibly metaphysical you are because you are a human being. You cannot pay me enough to shut up about that. Okay? And there's no product I'm going to come here and sell. Somebody comes to me and says, hey, we've seen you in your Qigong book. You look pretty good. You look like you're pretty fit. I like that pose you got where you're standing up on top of that tree, okay, that was teetering at the edge of the cliff, and you got up on it anyway and stood on it and found a balance point, and this photographer caught the picture. You'll see it in there, okay? And Coca-Cola comes and says, hey, we'd like to buy that picture. It's not for sale. Because what's inside of you is what's powerful. It's not that my body's all powerful. I made my body better. My body was not good. I made it better. Okay? I'm not here to sell you my abs. My abs are so great, so let's have you all do this and this so you can have great abs too. I'm not here to sell you that either. You know why? Because the body dies. Sorry, did I jump into that too soon in the program? The body dies. So, what? Live now. Do something with your spirit now. Do something with your life now. Be bigger than the body now. Don't wait to go to heaven or something. Because if the Buddhists and a lot of other entities who've been around a lot longer than our modern Christianity are correct, you'll be here again. And you might meet some of the same people, and you might have some of the same experiences. And guess what? What's that called? Come on, what's it called? Use your brain. We talked about it earlier. What's it called? It's called Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day was written by a Buddhist. It's called reincarnation. You feel how heavy it just got in here? Do you feel it? I'm not kidding you. I won't BS you here today. Do you feel how heavy it just got in here? Exhale your breath. Take a deep breath. This is called David's no holds barred semi-private coaching class. No holds barred. I'm not going to hold anything back. Okay? What you've learned from religion and religions and spirituality and medicine and all of these other kinds of things, I'm not going to tell you what truth is. You find out what truth is yourself. I will tell you that it lives inside of you and it doesn't live outside. I'll tell you that. Anybody know a master who taught that on the planet? Yeshua ben Joseph taught that on the planet. Who else taught that on the planet? The Buddha taught that on the planet. Gandhi taught that on the planet. Krishnamurti taught that on the planet. Who?
Jesus.
Who?
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeshua ben Joseph was a real name back in the history books. But yes, absolutely. Jesus taught that on the planet. So I was trying to heal myself. I was in a bad situation, in bad shape. Okay? I was an angry, at-risk youth with all kinds of body problems, and I didn't have functional parents to go to and say, help me. I also didn't have teachers to go to and say, help me. Because I didn't like them, because they didn't like me. I didn't wear the right clothes. I didn't fit in. We moved a few times. I didn't look like the other people, so I got picked on. Kids told me I was gay. They knocked my book bag off of my shoulders. I was trying to figure out, how do I find my way in the world? And I had victim written all over me, apparently, because I was constantly being bullied and picked on, and so on and so forth. And the teachers would pick on me, and the kids would pick on me, and my parents would pick on me, and then I'd go home for salvation, and my mom would be drunk, or my dad would be drinking, and they were all unhappy, and the day was this, and the day was that, this, whoa, and everybody fighting, everybody screaming. I said I would have been better off staying in the woods. So I did. I spent a lot of time in the woods. And I came to appreciate things like meditation. I came to appreciate things like nature. I used to go to church, too. When I grew up, I was going to church. And there were certain things that I resonated with in church very strongly. Okay? And jumping ahead, because I studied a lot of things to get to where I am, and a lot of years in college, and a lot of years of extracurricular study and so on. So I'll just say it like that. But studying religion in school, part of what I did, and getting my psychology degree, studying religion, studying different religions, looking into different religions, looking into Buddhism, looking into Hinduism, looking how the world worked. Because I had an open mind, and I'm going to say it to you like that simply, because I had an open mind, I started to look and go, hey, well, this is interesting. Jesus said, as ye sow, ye shall reap. The Buddha said, karma. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. The physicists in my physics class say that for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. That sounds just like what the Buddha said. And what the Buddha said, that sounds a lot like what Jesus was talking about. And when I get more into Buddhism and I look more at the karma and I look more at these, I go, wow, this is really starting to sound familiar. Take a deep breath. But around true teachings, best way I could put it to you, truth teachings. Around truth teachings. You know what got painted around truth teachings? Religions, ways, my way, this way, that way. And in order to be my way, you got to give up this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and that, and all those other things. You know what the biggest thing? that has been given up by you. And if we go Buddhist for a minute, I'm not Buddhist, I'm not anything. But if we go Buddhist for a minute, okay, then that means in your previous incarnations leading to this one, you've been creating everything you're living right now. Every person in your life you don't like, you have issues with, guess what? Know them before, know them again. What comes around goes around. And the only way we get away with 95% of the crap that we believe in our life right now, the average human being, 95% of the reason that we get away with the crap that we get away with in our head about how life works is because we believe in time, we believe in space, we believe in those what are called by the physicists illusions. They're not real. We believe in them. And then we look at people and say, oh, he's got it so good. He's got it so great. He's got it better than me. And he must have done something good in his past lifetime. And we make these comparisons. You don't know what that other person's life is. You don't know what they're living. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what their karma was to get there, how they got there, what any previous incarnation was or what experience was. But Jesus said, there's one law. He didn't call it the law of attraction. That's the modern New Age conversation. It's called the law of attraction. You probably heard about it. It's a secret. Actually, it was the secret back in the 90s. It's not the secret anymore. Anyway, but they still write books about it called The Secret. The law has not been a secret. The only reason it's a secret to people is because we've been dumbed down. We've been dumbed down because we've been scared into survival. I might not survive. I might not make it. And I'm not criticizing you because I've been through it too. But here's the thing. That is root chakra, ladies and gentlemen. That is root chakra. So if you're sitting there, and I have, thoughts about that too, right? I run a business, I have a family, we think about those things. Have to, okay? And I want to talk about those things. I don't want to just be so spiritual here today that you walk out with, oh, I'm so spiritual and so holy, but I don't know how to pay my bills. I don't know how to change my relationships. I don't know how to do anything with it. I know to go to Qigong, and maybe he's just trying to sell me his book. No. I'm here to change your life. I want to help you change your life however you want to change it. But what you need first is you need a lay of the land. If I was going to play soccer with you right now, how fair of it would it be of me if I'm good at soccer, which I'm fairly good at soccer. If I was to play soccer with you, and you never played soccer, and I said, hey, come on, Kelly, let's just go play. Let's play. I'm kicking the ball. I'm like, oh, there's 1 point for me. Okay, here you go. Okay. Oh, you touch it with your hands. Okay, go kick. Oh, there's another one for me. Oh, don't worry, you do good. Look at the trophy over there. You be able to get the trophy. Oh, there's another one. Oh, just got another part. Oh, yep, you just went out of bounds. How fair would that be? Would it be ridiculously unfair on the level that it would be? It would be, right? Take a deep breath. Because people who want to control you, that's the game they want you to play. Their game, their rules. Play my game. Oh, another one for me. We all seen this. Either had it happen to you or you've seen like a joke like poker game on like some TV show like Friends or something, and they're playing poker and it's like, oh yeah, we'll play poker, yeah. Oh, how much money you got? Oh, I got like $500. I just got my check today. I got like $500 in cash. Oh, great, let's play poker. You're doing good. Oh yeah, oh that hand's really good. Oh yeah, don't worry, you do better next time. Here, keep that $5. Keep that $5. You'll do better next time. Yeah, I don't think you want to leave the game. You don't want to leave the game. Wow. Oh look at that, you won $25. Oh, don't worry about it, you lost 45. It's only $20, it's no big deal. Come on, keep playing, put your money on the table. You know what, you're doing really lucky. You're getting really lucky. I say you bet everything. I say just put it all on the table, bet everything. You've been doing so good tonight, just bet everything. Oh, dang it, you got a joker. Oh man, you were so close. Come back next time when you get your next paycheck, and the person steals the $500. Y'all follow what I'm saying, right? And it's kind of disturbing, isn't it? And you can feel it in your own body being that this conversation is disturbing because it's happening on a mass scale. Please take a deep breath. Find your breath. If you cannot find your breath in the middle of right now, you hear the spiritual teachers say this, if you cannot find your breath right now, in the middle of this moment, right now, then you cannot be still. And if you cannot be still, well, then you're crazy. Ongoing. Something like this, right? Deepak Chopra might say, right? So find your breath right now in the middle of this stressful subject, because that's what we're here to change tonight, to change the stressful subject and to make a shift collectively here, emotionally, so that when you leave this room, you feel better, you feel empowered, you feel enlivened, your chi has shifted, and you feel big, and you feel better. You understand? That's where we're going. So don't worry about this part of it. Don't worry about it. But take a breath into it. If we handle it a little bit at a time, you're going to be able to do it. You understand? You're already doing it. If I just give it all to you one shot and you're holding your breath the whole time, well, what do you know? You leave here, you go, yeah, I know some stuff. No, you don't. You understand? All right. So, lay of the land. We're talking about life. We're talking about your personal reality. Your personal reality is what we're going to focus on tonight when we talk about the law of attraction in conjunction with mindfulness and energy and stillness practice and meditation practice and Qigong practice and so on. Because if we back up a moment, at the beginning of the program, I asked you to take 3 deep breaths. I told you that that was to awaken your mind. But I don't know that I use these exact words, I'll use these words now, is to help you create a gap, create space. So if Kelly, for example, was being manipulated by somebody like that, right? And I was, even though I'm joking, okay, I'm like half joking, telling a story, the reason you're disturbed is I'm doing it. Because I'm just acting it out, you see. But acting it out, you can feel the energy of that. You can feel, if I kept going and was not sensitive to what I was doing with you, you would be feeling worse and worse and worse. But I let you feel a certain degree of bad because that's already there. I'm just bringing it to the surface, and then I backed off and I made a joke about it and I went over here and I kind of blew it off and then come back and empower you about it. Understand? Because this subject is already there. You're being played already. We're all being played already by, bigger corporations and everything else that want you to be a certain way and so on. And I'm not getting into conspiracy theories and all that. That'll be here on the side. My main thing I want to teach you is, in the middle of all the chaos that's going on out there in the world, so on and so forth, I want to teach you how it is that you come back to your own center, live in your own personal reality, and make a difference despite everything else that's going on. Because, I sat with a teacher, okay? A very high-level teacher. It's one of the reasons I'm here having this conversation with you tonight, because this teacher has helped me radically change my life, okay? And I climbed a mountain to get to this teacher, believe me. So, the teaching was this. It's a mind-blowing teaching. The teaching was this. The teacher said, after, we're doing a lot of meditation, full retreat and everything. This teacher said something along the lines of this. We're going to have you reflect on what you've been doing with your life. Okay? So they said, take a moment to reflect on what you've been doing with your life. What you're up to, what you're doing, what you got going on. And now we want you to ask yourself a question. What are you doing today that's going to make a difference 10,000 years from now? Half the room went, what? What in God's name is he talking about? 10,000 years from now. He says, you think 10,000 years is a long time. Look up any of the history books, look at any of the masters like Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus, Buddha, Krishnamurti, any of these other teachers, and they're like the physicists. They basically say time goes on and 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 on, and there are many realities happening simultaneously. Wow. Wow, dude. That is some really deep stuff. That's a shout out for the people in Colorado. My half joke there about smoking pot and saying that is that a lot of people like to get philosophical. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change your life to be philosophical. You can put on the beads, the robes, the jewelry, everything else. It doesn't change the planet because it doesn't change your personal reality. The only power that you have, and yet it's a phenomenal one, if you listen to the physicists, because in a grain of sand exists what? What exists? What?
The universe.
The universe exists in a grain of sand. Are you like a grain of sand? You are. You're like a grain of sand. Are you like a mustard seed? You're like a mustard seed in the middle of existence. So that means within you, everything is within you. There is no world. Many master teachers will teach the teaching that says there is no world. Whatever world you thought existed, it isn't there. Because you cannot take whatever you say, oh, well, Trump's doing this, or Obama's doing that, or these people are doing this, or those people are doing that. You know how the physicists are suggesting this happens now? And there's an interesting movie, if you haven't seen it. This is there's a few pieces of what I'm talking about that are in the movie. What the Belief is Consciousness. If you haven't seen this movie, maybe go check it out. It's on YouTube. Anyway, there's a bunch of really smart people on that video. And I'm a little bit smart. These people are really, really smart. But I'm a practitioner. And I've made things happen with my practices. That's what gives me the ability, the permission, the validation to stand on stage in front of people and tell people what I tell people and teach people what I teach people. Because I help people make it happen. If somebody could get up here and give you all the same philosophy I can give you and teach you and share with you and say it, and they look all great and pretty, maybe prettier than I am and so on and so forth, maybe wear some fancy robes or whatever they wear to come in here and have a conversation with you. But the philosophy is just a philosophy, and you leave, you feel warm, you feel fuzzy, but nothing changes in your life. So what? I pride myself on having made shifts in my life physically, with my health, with my money, with my friendships, with my relationships. That's the kind of stuff I want to teach you about tonight. I want to give you a taste of it. I can't teach you everything tonight, but I want to give you an experience. And I told you in the program that this was an introduction to power thinking. This is part of the power thinking. You have to have the knowledge. How can you power think without knowledge? Pretty difficult to power think without knowledge. There's only one way to think powerfully without knowledge. It looks like this. It's called meditation. It's called stillness practice. That's the only way to think powerfully without thinking powerfully. Even if you don't have the knowledge, you can download it. But you know what you have to do in seated meditation? You know what you have to do with still meditation? You have to sit there long enough and get enough control, or let go of enough control, that's where words get tricky, to where your mind gets quiet. And you can actually perceive something greater. You can actually download something greater. So that's one way to power think without having to have any book knowledge or something about the law of attraction. You can download it. There are masters who have sat in caves and sat in the woods and they can't even read and write. Yet you look at them and literally holy cow. You just look at their eyes and look at their face, and this person is in another world. And you're like, I want whatever he has. I don't know how to get it, but I want whatever he has, right? So anyway, we'll come back to the meditation piece because it's going to be one of the practices that I have you do tonight, okay? But this is our warm-up. We'll go a little further. I don't know exactly how long. We'll have a little break, and then we'll come back. We'll keep going into it, and I'm going to give you some actual exercises. But the first thing I need to give you, which is what I'm still giving you right now, is the pep talk. But it's the lay of the land. If you don't know how the game works, how can you score? So back in the day, teachers, masters like Jesus would say, the kingdom of heaven is where? Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Where is it? Here. Within you. It's here, it's now, it's within you. So what? What are you going to show me? What did you make of it? What can you make of it? If you really understand it, then that means you turn inward on a regular basis. Father, I can of mine own self do nothing. Every single time I do my healing work, those may not be my exact words, but the meaning is the same. I can of mine own self do nothing. When Jesus went to perform a miracle, okay, and obviously, it's not obvious, just to be clear, I'm the one telling the story, okay? So you can decide whether the story resonates with you or not, right? I wasn't there. I just read what I read. I know what I know. I intuitively feel what I feel. You decide, is it crap, is it not crap? But that's also why I'm going to say to you in 1 minute Jesus, in another minute Buddha, in another minute Krishnamurti, in another minute David Coon, in another minute throw it all out. You understand? I just want to help you find the kingdom of heaven. Follow? For yourself. And I want to give you some pointers. I want to give you some actual exercises. But again, lay of the land, I want to give you some pointers. Where should I look, David? Well, let me tell you. What did Jesus say? What did Buddha say? What did Krishnamurti say? What am I saying? What did the Taoists say as far as standing tree meditation and so on? Look inside. The kingdom of heaven is where? Inside. Take a deep breath. Holy good God! We've only been hanging out with him for 30 minutes. My brain is frying. I hope it is. All right? Anybody ever seen the symbol, the caduceus? Seen the symbol, right? If you ever been to the doctors, you've seen the symbol. You ever watched an ambulance drive by? You've seen the symbol. How many people who haven't taken my workshops have any clue that that caduceus has to do with 3 primary energetic pathways that have to do with awakening consciousness and energy, causing the illumination and the enlightenment of the man or the woman into God, into Christ, into Buddhahood? How many people know that? Raise your hand if you know it. You know? Know it now. And yet the doctor owns that now. Right? And then they give you a prescription. I'm not going to say too much of that, they'll hunt me down. All right? But you get the idea. All right? So, seriously, half kiddingly, and disclaimer. Disclaimer. You know why the pharmaceutical company doesn't care about me? Because most people are not going to do anything I'm talking about. What? God's in you? So what? I'm teaching that in church. But leave them alone. Who cares? Nobody's going to do it anyway. When they get a headache, they're going to come see us because they need to get rid of the headache. Because they are body focused. Body focused, body focused, body focused, emotional focus, mental focus. Body focus, physical focus, emotional focus, mental focus, back down to physical focus, back down to physical focus, back to emotional focus, oh, emotional, oh, back to mental, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, I suck at this, oh, I'm not as good as my friends, oh, I don't even know why I'm not good enough, I don't even know, I don't feel like getting out of bed today, back to physical, back to emotional, oh, my foot hurts, I hear the breath, back there, it's stressful, isn't it? Take a deep breath. You, the unawakened Christ, the unawakened Buddha, the unawakened Qigong master, the unawakened Siddhi, the unawakened yogi, pick whatever words you want, are stuck in the first 3 chakras. Stuck. Metaphysical begins in the heart. Not just because you like, oh, I love somebody. That's good too, don't get me wrong, but if you're half faking it, it ain't all that great. The first metaphysical chakra is the heart chakra. Any evil being on the planet who wants to control you, manipulate you, take your money, have you pay for their whatever, I don't know, their alcohol, their this, that, however they manipulate you. All right? You know the one thing nobody wants you to know? That you're metaphysical. Oh, I'll talk to you about the fact that you're metaphysical as long as you keep coming back to church and paying your dues. I'll talk to you about it. But I don't have any interest in awakening to Christ in you, because if I did, well, who knows? You might decide you want to be a priest. I don't know what you want to be. Well, you're a woman. You can't do that. That's the law of the land out there. Understand on the level that it is. That's the law of the land. So, again, I'm not talking conspiracy theory or anything. I'm just saying black and white. Look at it. It's just how it is, right? And I'm not saying they're all wrong and they're all bad and everything else. I'm just here to point out to you, you have a metaphysical reality that is within you. You think I'm just going to say this to you, tell you, okay, seminar's over. Have a nice day. Practices like Qigong, practices like yoga, practices like still meditation help you experience it. This is a wonderful talk, by the way. It is. And I see some people's tears and some people's stress and different things going on. It's a wonderful talk. I'm a wonderful, provocative speaker. So what? If this stops now, so what? I gotta teach you something. You have to learn to exercise these things in your life, or your personal reality will not change. If your personal reality doesn't change, then, we need to tweak something. We need to change something. I started this a while back. I'm going to come back to it. I didn't forget about it. Many masters say that there is no one else out there, just you. You'll hear this. You look at, again, all those teachers I just mentioned. You can look into their teachings and so on, and you hear this teaching. There's nobody there but you. There's nobody there but you. You go, Jesus, he was a jerk. Come on. The guy did this, he did that, he did the other thing, plus he's a leper and he smells. Right? Jesus is like, there's nobody here but you. You go, yeah, but the dude smells and he's got leprosy. And I saw him, he kicked a dog over there. Kicked a dog. Poor innocent dog went up, kicked it right in the head. Jesus said, there's nobody else here but you. Buddha came later and said, let me remind you, there's nobody here but you. Krishnamurti comes, there's nobody here but you. Meanwhile, nobody's quite getting it necessarily. Okay? All right. I'll attempt to say a little bit about that and try and describe it to you, what this might mean. You decide for yourself. Shelley has a whole life that she lives and experiences. It is made up of people. It is made up of places. It is made up of times. It is made up of particular events. There's only a couple of those where we crisscross and cross paths. Even when we cross paths, I'm up here teaching, you're over there sitting. Your view of this reality is very different than mine. I have some memory and we can agree that there's a koi pond over there, right? But we're not really in the same reality. She's having her own personal experience out of this same space. Follow? Take a deep breath. We don't even need to smoke any pot to get there. We just have the conversation. All right? Believe me, I smoked a lot of pot when I was younger, so I'm not, that's your path. It led me to spirituality on the level that it did. When I found Qigong and yogic practices and breath work and all of this, I left all that behind. I have no interest in doing it anymore because it pales in comparison to the highs that I experienced from the healing work that I did. So, anyway. So, in your life, You have your own personal reality. So if you would open your notebook, which is part of your own personal reality, and at home, if you don't have a notebook, go get one. Write down in your personal notebook there, and you don't have to make it all neat. You could use the whole, because you're not going to use up the whole notebook tonight, so, use it how you want. Write real big, or, whatever, how you want to write it. Write down people. Write it down, people. Places. Things. Times. And events. And then at the top of that page or the bottom of that page, wherever you want to put it, write the words, my personal reality. And then on the same page or a different page, write a little stick figure, which is going to represent you. And then surrounding the stick figure, I want you to write several other stick figures around that stick figure that represent the people in your life. There could be 3 of them or 5 of them or 2 of them, whatever you want. Oh, like a little person, you know what I mean? Like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, you got it? Yeah. Little person, a little head, a little body, right? And then draw other people surrounding you.
Does it have to be exactly surrounding or just
No, just around, around.
Okay.
The idea is they're orbiting you. Which gives away the answer to a question I might have asked, but it's all good. Once you draw your little people there, I want you to go ahead and place some names above their heads. Doesn't have to be, just whoever comes to your mind first. You don't have to name everybody in your world, But this also brings that person's energy into this room right now. And whether that's a happy relationship or a challenging relationship, we're going to do some healing work with them. It's not really, it's with them, it's like with their higher self, I'll say it like that. By calling them in, by writing their name down and so on. Alright? Now, I'll give you just a moment to finish that. Let you put some people's names on there. So out of the things that I had you write down, people, places, things, times, and events, I want you to put an asterisk or something like that next to people. And I want you to underline people in your list. You have a list that says people, places, things, times, and events. I want you to underline people, and I want you to put an asterisk next to it. People are and will remain the most important one of those things on that list. In terms of how they influence your life, how they make a difference in your life, better or worse, they're number one. So put an asterisk next to it, underline it, and now you've got this little stick figure, yourself, pretending it's yourself. You can put me on that little stick figure in the center, that's you. Everybody else there surrounding you, you put a couple, 2, 3 names, whatever, surrounding you there, all right? Now go ahead and flip the page, or you need a little more space, so however you want to do it. Now draw a planet, a circular planet like Earth. Okay. And you can write on it in case you forget, or you can, make it look like the Earth, or you can write down Earth, or you can write down planet, all right? And what they taught us in school, but never really taught us in school. Okay? What shape is that?
Circle.
Round, it's circle, it's a sphere. Okay? Yeah, it's a globe. Alright? Okay? Ever seen a cell? Yeah, it looks like that. That planet, okay? It used to be back in the day, right, with religion versus science and everything, that whole idea of like where the church said everything revolves around us, we're in the center of the universe, everything revolves around us, right? And then Galileo comes along, Galileo goes, oh no, the sun's traveling around the earth, right? That's a big game changer on the level that it was, and there's still a lot of conflict about that, trying to regain the power that that idea once had. We're out there floating in space, and we're all alone, God put us here. And, we're in the center of the universe. Then we find out, no, actually the sun, the light. Did you catch that? The light is at the center of our little world, and we revolve around the light. All right? So, we have this idea that we're like separate from everyday laws, which is why we destroy the planet. We destroy the planet. A lot of folks destroy the planet, and then there's a few of us that destroy the planet, and then a lot of us that contribute to the destroying of the planet, all right? And that happens on the level that it does, in part because of this idea that we're disconnected from the ocean. We're disconnected from our brothers and sisters. We're disconnected from each other if we're a different color or we're a different race or we come from a different place or this one's got money or that one doesn't have money, blah, 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 blah. Right? But what's really happening is that there are physical laws called the law of attraction. One of those laws, law of attraction, is causing planets to be in the vicinity of each other. So now just draw a few round planets around Earth there. Like if you made that Earth, for example, then draw a sun there somewhere, Draw the sun over there somewhere, and then draw a couple other planets that are out there orbiting the sun with the Earth. Okay? Because later you'll have dreams about this. I'm playing with your subconscious mind right now. That's why I'm having you do a little drawing, and to not just think about this, but to actually draw it. Because when you sleep tonight, you'll have dreams about this conversation. Because, I'm jumping a little ahead here, but maybe not. Maybe it's right on time. If you want to change something that's going on in your life, if my body doesn't feel very great, right? I'm not that healthy, as they say. And I walk and I say, my body's healthy and I'm strong. Some of you have heard this teaching from me. It's even in my book, but it's in more details than this first part. But you walk, you say, my body's strong, I'm healthy. You come visit me for a session. I say, let's have a private coaching session. I can say, okay, Shelly, come walk with me. She walks with me. I go, my mind is strong, my body's strong. She goes, my mind is strong, my body's strong. We do that 12 times. And if we had the ability to do a blood test right afterwards, you would probably see some changes. If you had some markers, looking at white blood cell counts or different things, you'd probably be able to see some changes. But otherwise, you're probably not going to see very much. And you're not going to believe anything happened. And so, for the most part, it's just going to fall flat. All right? If you want to change something in your life, it'd be the same with money, for example. Somebody's making a certain amount of money. You want to make more money. So you say, I now make, I make $1 million a year. Or I make $1 million. Or I'm a millionaire. Whatever. And it's some mantra like this, right? You just sit there and you say it and you say it and you say it. Well, if it was that easy and it just worked, well then you just walk out the door, you'd be a millionaire, and you'd stop doing that because you'd find other things to do because you'd have $1 million to spend and you'd go, this is awesome! Whatever. Anyway, but instead there's this thing called the great work where you have to figure out how is this happening? How am I having this exchange with the universe, and how do I make things happen in my life? So one of the feedback mechanisms that you've learned from in your life is pain, right? You hit your head, it hurts, you don't do it again. Or some people, they'll do it 12 times before they decide, hey, that hurts, I think I'm going to find a better way, right? But the one thing that you have to change is you have to change subconscious mind. The day that subconscious mind believes you're strong, your body will respond. Write down off to the other page or to the side, please. Subconscious mind is a powerhouse. So if whatever you call power thinking does not scratch the surface of the subconscious mind, If it does not reprogram the subconscious mind, forget it. Nothing's happening. The subconscious mind is like Fort Knox, but there are ways around Fort Knox. There are ways around Fort, and I'm exercising one of them right now. I'm having a conversation with you, and this whole thing about planets, you learned it before, but you never learned it like this. This is affecting your subconscious mind. You'll go home and dream about it tonight. So now you see those planets, and you drew a planet Earth, and you drew the sun, and you drew the little bit, solar system there, or whatever. All right? Let me ask you a question. Take a deep breath. Find your breath. Take 3. Find your breath. And then we'll do this last piece. We'll have a little break. This will be our first segment, first hour, first segment, first warm-up. I don't want you to answer this out loud. I just want you to think about it. Think about what the answer might be. What's the difference between you and those planets and the law of attraction that causes those planets to somehow come together? Gravity is causing those planets to come together. Right? But then it seems to some people like a ridiculous idea that you would be attracting certain people, places, things, times, and events into your life because you're somehow special. You're somehow more special than cells in the body. You're somehow more special than planets. You're somehow more special than laws. One of the ways the spiritual teachers teach us is go up to the top of the building and stand there with a good person and stand there with a bad person. Whoever you think is good, whoever you think is bad, both of you stand there. Make sure there's a mat below the building. And then both of you jump, and then ask yourself, who fell? Both of you are going to fall. There are laws on this planet that work for the bad guy, and they work for the good guy. Whoever you think the good guy is, whoever you think the bad guy is, you got to think bigger if you want to understand how you're really made. If you want to understand what Jesus and Buddha and some of those folks were talking about, I think personally, you got to expand your mind about what they were actually saying. You cannot just take a little saying, go to church and say, oh, that's what they meant, and then just forget about it. Jesus said something, in my growing up and me reading some of the Bible pieces and so on, there was a common theme that was taught, and that another simple Jesus saying that on many levels has probably been bastardized in different ways. So the first law, like I said, that I mentioned earlier was that which ye sow ye shall reap. That's really the same law as you treat your brother, so shall you treat yourself. Okay? And again, these are karmic laws and so on. But let me see if I can get back my mind a couple different directions, and I know you guys need a break too. So let me just see if I can get back to the one teaching that I was going to point out to you there for a moment, because I have a long list of his teachings, of course, in my head. Do me a favor and take a couple exhalations and a couple in-breaths, see if I can get back on that train. Otherwise, we'll take a break and get back up. Well, I'll say it this way. I think I was going to say it differently, but the idea, the concept is still coming back to me. Have you ever heard the teaching that said, you're one with everything? You've heard it, right? Well, we don't really know what to do with that. We really don't. Break it down, we don't really know. Because we think in terms of two. We think in terms of separation. We think of me versus you. We think of ourselves versus the planets. We think of ourselves versus the ocean. We sit in our car and turn on our air conditioning and think about ourselves instead of the hot weather. Now we're cool. There's so much duality, right? But we're really one with everything. One of the main things that means is that we are also bound to some degree by the same laws that govern these planets. We're not that like. We're special. Gravity doesn't apply to us. Well, don't think like that and then jump off a roof. You understand? The relationships that are coming into your life are coming there because of the law of attraction. The opposite of the law of attraction would be called the law of repulsion. Two magnets. We're talking electromagnetism. Okay? Two magnets that have reverse charges cannot come together. They keep trying, but they can't. turn the other way, bam, they stick together, and you can't get rid of that person. That person is stuck to you. That, you did great. That's the first hour, and that's the lay of the land. When we get back, we'll talk about exercises and different things and so on. How do we begin to influence these things? So, before we quit, she can shut that off, that's fine, but teaching, spiritual teachers, whether it's, churches or conferences or whatever the case may be. And somebody who supposedly knows a lot, and maybe they do, whatever, we would think that they, intellectually know a lot at least, and they get up on stage and they talk about different things, and that's appropriate on the level that it is. But the point I want to make is that they can be the most profound, eloquent speaker, they can be, really excited and motivated about life. And they can be like, you just need to get up in the morning and like whatever their thing is. But if you don't breathe it and you don't take it in for yourself and make it your own, and actually take time to think about it. You see, the way that I teach, it's also the way I learn. And one of the things I learned is that the kingdom of heaven is inside of me. So if it's inside of me, again, whatever words you want to use, but in general, I used those earlier, so I'll just use it again. The kingdom of heaven is inside of me. My greater reality is inside of me. My metaphysical reality is inside of me. Okay? I'm not attached to words at all. I'll throw out this word, chuck it, I don't care. You get the idea of the concept, right? Inside of you lives that kingdom of heaven. Right? So if it lives inside of me, and I have, to some degree, glimpsed that, all right, I'll just put it like that, then I have also glimpsed that it lives inside of you. And if I've glimpsed that it lives inside of you, then it's really just about helping you kind of notice, right? Like I don't have it. It's not like it's in my pocket and I go, oh, well, I got the kingdom of heaven up here, pay me for it and I'll give it to you. No, you have it. You're the one that has the kingdom of heaven inside of you, you see. So what I've used the law of attraction to do is back when I was younger and I was at-risk youth and I was going through all kinds of things and my world was really crazy. The people, places, things, times, and events in my life were really crazy. What was revolving around me was really crazy. And I had physical diseasements and things going on in my body that I seemingly had no say or any control over. And I had all these family members that I was related to that I didn't consciously choose, and they gave me my name. And they started the whole thing of like what was called my life. All right? So that's really disturbing when you're a little tiny person, you're already being somewhat taken advantage of, or to a large extent being taken advantage of by people who love you, care about you. They say, I love you, and then they slap you. They say, I love you, and then they say, I told you should have never done that at school. You should have done this. Whatever the hell that is, right? Do you know that spiritual teachers like Krishnamurti, for example, who Bruce Lee was a big fan of Krishnamurti, and Krishnamurti was a teacher in India. If you don't know anything about him, I'll just say it briefly because I think it's a cool story, is that because I think him and I and Bruce Lee have some things in common. He, and I had to take a pause there, I felt a heartfelt moment from both of them right there, giving me their, from the conscious collective going, say it. All right. Krishnamurti was raised to be the next world leader in India. This guy's going to be the next world leader. He's going to help us rule the world. As soon as they made Krishnamurti, he turned 18 years old or whatever, and they said, all right, you've been raised since you were a kid, homeschooled, everything, all private schools, all this stuff, to become the leader of our organization. The first thing he did was disbanded the organization. He said, I cannot in my right consciousness do this job because I don't believe in organizations. And I don't believe in separation. And organizations create separation and segregation. And I don't believe in it So therefore, I cannot be your teacher. This organization is now disbanded. That sent a pretty good shockwave to a lot of people at the time. He didn't stop there. He kept teaching that for the rest of his days. Okay? And one of the things that he also said was very similar to Jesus and Buddha, again, slightly different way of saying it, but a different angle, but same teaching, was he said, you see the wars out there, right? War is happening, and you look on TV, and you go, oh, I can't believe they're doing this, and they're doing that, and this is happening, and that's happening. He says, who do you think those people are? What do you think that war is? He said, this is an illusion. And if you think that what you see going on out there is different than what you have going on in here, you are insane. Because there is no world out there. You're connected to that world. Which is perhaps what Jesus meant when he said, you're one with everything. You're one with everybody. Well, even the leper? Yeah, that's why he hung out with lepers. But did Jesus stop there? I'm hanging out with lepers. They're pretty miserable, and they hate life, and they come to me, and they go, hey, Jesus, you're a healer, right? Think you can heal all this crap? Yeah, I didn't think so. That's what happens when we get really sick and really bitter and really angry. When I had all my diseasement, I went around to my personal reality, and I already expected. I told you we're going to get into the law of expectation tonight. The law of expectation is very powerful. Because the law of expectation is all about what your subconscious thinks. What you expect. So open your notebook and write down the words law of expectation. And in parentheses or something, put subconscious mind, or S period C period, doesn't mean South Carolina, but subconscious mind. You might want that information if you're going to try and make any difference in your own personal reality. So I started with you earlier that, we're sitting in the same room, we're looking at the same thing. No, we're not. We're not even looking at the same thing. We can both say, look at the tree. Looking at the tree from a different perspective. I say, oh, it was such a beautiful tree. You go, yeah, it really was. And I go, later, like weeks later, I go, oh, the leaves were amazing. You go, the leaves, I never saw them. I was looking at the bark. We live in totally different realities. To think that you live in the same reality as other people, you got to stretch your mind a little bit. You're not in the same exact reality as other people. You're sharing a reality. Their reality is different than your reality. And the only one, this is my main point with that teaching. I don't want to get too woo-woo and, like I said, go back to like we're getting high here or something. I want to just point out to you, the most important point I want to make about it is, what you have say over and what you have some say over and some control over is your own personal reality. If you start to get confused between what's your personal reality and what reality is, like, well, reality is Trump and the Republicans or the Democrats and this is what's going on. If you think that's your reality, you have very little say in the world. Because you're not even taking care of the grain of sand. You're the grain of sand, and you could make radical changes in your own little grain of sand, your own little personal reality that we drew a picture of with the people that were going around you. That's where you have the ability to make change. Out there, you don't have the ability to make change. Can you go out with a group of other people and get a picket sign and stand in Washington, D.C. and put up a sign that says no more X, Y, and Z? Yeah, you can. And, it might have some impact. But over time, if you look at anything that the spiritual teachers are teaching, they will tell you that that which you resist persists. You cannot just fight against something, call people evil, point a finger at them in this lifetime with a straight face. You're playing an ego game. Because you don't even remember who you were in your last lifetime. You don't even remember what you were up to. You don't even remember what you did. But the one thing all the spiritual teachers will tell you is you are currently living the result of everything you've been doing. Everything you've been doing over there and everything you've been doing over there, because according to physicists, there is no past life. They're all happening now. And if you get into some of the spiritual teachers, they'll tell you everything's happening now. So if Linda changes as Linda in her life here and now and makes a difference in your personal reality now with two other people in your life that you call Sam and Bob or whatever, you change Sam and Bob and your relationship with Sam and Bob, well, guess what? Across time and space, she just changed her relationship with Sarah and Sue, who are Sam and Bob in another incarnation. We didn't even have to get high to think about that. The point is, again, that's all out there. I don't want to go too far out there. I just want to give you a glimpse of that, and then I want to come back to what's the reality to make change. Where is the place to make change? If you're living in Groundhog Day, how do I make change? The first thing I need to let you know, I already said it twice, 3 times, but I'm going to say it again. The only place you can really make change is in your own personal reality. So go back to your personal reality of people surrounding you, your body, orbiting around you, and there's 3 names there, 4 names, or 5 names, right? I want you to go back to those people, and over every single one of their heads or their feet or something, I want you to write the words love or peace or light or clarity, something. Write a positive word right next to that person on that piece of paper. Because if you think or don't think that your personal reality is not being affected by what you're doing in your notebook, if you think you're not affecting your personal reality, you're wrong. Because your personal reality is right there on that page. Because the primary place that your personal reality takes place is in mind. Where is mind? It's everywhere. Change it on that piece of paper, and you start changing it in your life. That is an actual action that you can take and you can do right now that goes across time and space and influences another person. Now, some people might say, well, is it really going to make a difference? Not that any of you would or whatever, but somebody might say, is it really going to make a difference? I write the word love next to a person's body. So what? Well, look at Dr. Emoto's studies of water. You take a water bottle, it's got murky, dirty, crystalline water all the way down to the structure, the crystal structure. It's cracked, it's fragmented, it's gray, it's dirty. And all you do is write love on the bottle, and those of you who've seen the studies know what happens to the crystal. It heals itself, you get a clear crystal. That's how reality works. And do you know why reality works that way? Because you're one with it. You're one with your reality. You're pretending you're not, but you're one with it. So go back to Groundhog Day. Bill Murray is pretending he's not connected to his reality. I can screw you over, and it's not going to affect me. Well, that's not what Jesus taught. But Bill Murray's trying to do it. I can screw you over, and it's not going to affect me. It's not going to influence me. That's not what the Buddha taught. But Bill Murray's trying to do it. But it's not working out. So in the movie, this is not working out, it's not working out. Gotta do something different, gotta do something different, gotta do something different. When does he have the opportunity to do something different? Now. That's the theme, that's the idea. Now, that's the point. Now is when he has a chance to do it. When are you going to do it? When you're in your next lifetime? Well, you don't even remember your last lifetime. If you don't remember your last lifetime and you're waiting till your next lifetime to figure this out and do something good for your life and for the planet and everything else, good luck with that. The only time you have any control over, any say over is right now. And you have the ability to do something new and do something different, right? So the other day, before I tell you the other day, go ahead and take a deep breath if you would. Write love on your notebook there to those people, to that page. Put a little heart on it. Whether you like that person or don't like that person, whether they're a pain in your butt or you really like that person, put a heart on it. Send them some love. I told you by naming those people and putting them down on that piece of paper, you're bringing that person's energy into the room. We are shifting what's going on with their energy and their soul or their higher self. So, in order to make a change, it is important for you to realize that people who have power and who, like, if you have a controlling army, like Lao Tzu used to talk about armies and stuff, right? Or, different things like this, and warriors, that whole idea from Asia and so on, right? If I'm at war with you all, right, then I would want to create confusion in you. I would want to get you all to fight against each other, because then you're a joke of an army. My army's got it together. Everybody's on the same page. They're all fighting for one cause because I got them to believe in some cause, and now we're just going to go run right through you all. You understand? So just create chaos in you. Right? Give you big problems that you can't solve. Oh, we can't solve any, the ocean's going to die before I turn 50. The global warming is going to melt us all before, anything happens. This thing, that thing, the other thing. All right. The Russians are coming. Okay. If the problem is given to you by a bigger power, and they give you the problem, and you can't really do anything about it. So, in other words, you start to realize you can't really do anything about it. You really can't, again, yes, you can go get a picket sign, yes, you can go fight things, but I already told you that teaching, so you get that idea. If you understand that, you can't just go resist other people, point the finger at them, say they're wrong, and get things to change. It just doesn't work. You have to change. It sucks, doesn't it? You have to change. You wanted everybody else to change. You're the one that's got to change. As Tony Robbins and some of those guys all like to say, people are not interested in your opinion. They're interested in how are you living your life? What are you doing with your life? What do you do with your life? If I was just here to give you guys my opinion, most of you wouldn't be here. You're here because you've seen how I live my life. I've been kind to you somewhere along the way. Somebody's told you somewhere along the way about something I did for them or how I helped them. That's my karma. You understand? I'm sowing those seeds of karma. That's what brought you here. So when I was younger and I didn't know how important getting a handle on my own thoughts, my moods, my emotions, all of that, which is the heart of what my book is about. My book, Qigong for Beginners, Your Path to Greater Health and Vitality, is not just about Qigong and doing a physical exercise. I save that for the videos. I save that for the classes. I save that for the live workshops. The book is about this kind of stuff. It's about changing your state of mind. And the book specifically doesn't go into as big of details as I just talked to you all about the law of attraction. There's pieces of it, seeds of it in there. But what the book is all about is, how do I control my personal reality? How do I change my mood as quickly as possible? Yes. And Pam says, change your breath, because we've been reiterating that all month long in Qigong class. You want to change your mood? Change your breath. You want to change your mood? Change your breath. You want to change your mood? How do you change it? Change your breath. The moment you start working with your breath, you're changing your mood. Go ahead and take a deep breath. So when I was younger, back when I was 18, 15, I was attracting all kinds of conflict in my life. I was already being abused at home, so to speak. The life was abusive. And then I was going to school, and I was attracting teachers who were being rather abusive. And I had one teacher touch me inappropriately. I had teachers inappropriately want to kick my ass. I had teachers trying all kinds of different things. But I was attracting it. I'll tell you a true story. put the heat on me for a minute, in a way. This was a radical change for me. This particular experience was a radical shift in how all of this works. I have been studying the kinds of things that I'm sharing with you and studying quantum physics and so on. You know, basic quantum physics, quantum mechanics, understanding how we create a reality, this type of idea. And I'm not a PhD. Anyway, so in that process, I had been journal writing. This is the other reason I gave you the notebook. I recommend, okay, that you, after tonight, you go home and you're going to write down a little blurb each day that basically says, what am I feeling today about blank? So just write that down in your notebook for a moment. What am I feeling today about blank, and then draw a big long blank there. So blank, if that doesn't make sense, can be any subject that you're dealing with. It could be your job, could be a relationship, could be a health issue. But we'll come back to it, but I'm going to start it with that. Write it down. How am I feeling about blank? And this is a little journal exercise. Every day for whatever, 7 days. Try it for a week. Okay? However you're feeling about it, overall, I'm going to use the words, however you're feeling about it. That includes how am I thinking about it, all of that. But in general, I'm just going to say, however you're feeling about that particular subject. Each day, write down how you're feeling about that particular subject, and just know this. That is what you're sowing. That is what you're attracting. So write it down. Another little, write a circle, draw a circle or something, and say, whatever the answer is that goes in that blank, that's what I'm attracting. That's my vibe. That makes sense. So, I was doing that type of exercise. Going home, short little journal writing section every night. This is how I'm feeling today. Some days it'd be like, this is how I'm feeling about this particular subject. Otherwise it'd be like, this is how I'm feeling about my life in general today. And I would write it down, and I put it in a little blurb, and I go just like that. And what I started looking at was cause and effect, cause and effect. I said this, I got this, I saw 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 this, I got this. The experiences were mind-blowing. Because how I felt and what I thought was literally creating people, places, things, times, and events that were matching what I had in my notebook. Matching what I wrote about. Matching how I felt. Matching how I felt about that particular subject. So jumping ahead just briefly, do you think if we were to work with that over a period of time, if we were to work with that, and we were to somehow change how you think about it, or how you think about the situation, or how you think about those people, or how you think about how you feel about it, or how you think about how you believe about that particular situation, do you think with a little bit of work we could change the effect by changing that cause? Yes, that's why I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you. That's called taking responsibility for your personal reality and what you're vibing with. So in my book, I talk a lot about these kinds of things. All right. Coming back now to the story. I was reading these types of books, having these types of understandings. I'm practicing Qigong, I'm practicing martial arts, I'm doing all these things to try and heal myself. But I'm attracting all kinds of dysfunctional people. I didn't have the greatest relationship with my mom growing up. I loved her dearly, but she was not very functional. Highly dysfunctional. Those are the words I use. Okay? And so I loved her, she loved me, but my mom, highly dysfunctional. So when somebody's highly dysfunctional, even if they don't want to abuse you, do you think they do? Of course. Because until you're a conscious being, you abuse other people. Like Bill Murray did. And you need to take responsibility for that. Alright. So, I was trying to take responsibility for what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and I'm studying all this stuff, and I'm making my little journal blurbs. And I was riding in a car with my brother. My grandfather was in the process of dying of cancer. It was the first major person in my life that I was losing, and he was like my dad in many ways. Showed up in ways that my dad didn't show up, So he was my mom's dad. And I grew up with him, spent a lot of time with him. My middle name is named after him, so a close relationship, And he was a Marine. He was a very tough entity, and but I was literally watching bone cancer just strip his life away from him. And I was watching him, become very weak and so on. And I was in the car with my brother, and I said, I was emotionally charged, and I said, not just to my brother, to the universe. This is what I want you to catch on to. I said to the universe, I'm so angry. Something like this. I'm so angry, and I feel simultaneously so helpless in my situation. And I said, I literally feel like I want somebody to fight with. I said, if I was 18 years old again or 15 years old again, I would want to kick somebody's ass. I was like 25 at the time. I said, I would want to just fight with somebody. And I said, but I feel helpless because I can't do anything. And I expressed that. In general, it was like that. It was very clear. And I put it out to the universe. Didn't really realize I was putting it out to the universe. The next day, I attracted an event. This is how, when you're doing in your notebook, you want to look at what kind of events you're attracting. So the event I attracted was, I drove down to the grocery store. I was going to get a pack of gum. It was like 100 degrees out. My dog's in the car. It's hotter than heck outside. I'm trying to decide, do I leave the windows open? Do I leave them closed? Do I leave the car running? Air conditioners blasting. And literally, it's a convenience store. Like, I pull up to the door right there, and I walk in the door, and I'm back out. We're talking, 120 seconds max. So I decided I'm going to leave the windows just cracked, air conditioning, go in, get my pack of gum, come out. In that 120 seconds, there was a police car parked behind my car, blocking my car in. Well, then I realized, it's just a canine control guy. He's talking to somebody. So I just went over and said, is that your car? You mind moving your car? This guy's about 6'4", big burly dude, big beard, is that your car? He starts screaming at me like I'm going to kill my dog in the car. I said, I understand where you're coming from, but my dog literally, 120 seconds, man. I'm like, I want to keep her cool, blah, blah. He's like, I'm going to throw you in jail. I'm going to throw that dog. He's going off. And I just sat there, and I just became like I was like in first grade or something, right? And I just decided, what can I do? Just get vulnerable with it. So I got vulnerable with it. Got in the car, drove away from the experience, and all of a sudden I went, wow. I created a situation where I got a fight, and I was helpless in my situation. There wasn't anything I could say to him or do. I literally created, manifested, attracted exactly what I had just put out to the universe. I said I felt helpless. I said I was looking for somebody to fight with, and I did it with emotion. That's all you need, guys. That's all you need. I said that I wanted roughly this many people for this workshop, and that I wanted eager people, and I wanted people to know that they wanted this, and that they wanted to learn this, and that they wanted to work with this, and if it was right for them to come, that they would come, and if it wasn't right for them, they wouldn't come. Well, look at what I attracted. You all are here, in part because of you and your personal reality, but also in part because of my personal reality. We are magnets, and we lined up tonight. You understand? We lined up. So you can create just as easily an experience like this, where everybody benefits, everybody win-win, everybody take it further, okay? Because if you look at the dynamics of how I live my life and what I've been doing, like I said, I have salt and pepper in my kitchen. Yet I travel around, I teach seminars, I do all this stuff, I give YouTube channel away for free, I go do all this different stuff that I do. Never in my life thus far have I been able to do that off of my bank account. Follow what I'm saying? All I had was salt and pepper. I have made it all happen. Why? Because I have an understanding. I can of my own self do nothing. But when I join with other people, I can make it greater. I can do my part, and I can write a book over the last 2 years, and then I can hand it to you, and I can sign it, and I can autograph it, and I can help you embody it, and you can go share it with somebody else. And that somebody else might share it with somebody else, and that somebody else might share it with somebody else. And then it becomes bigger, it becomes greater. That's also happening through law of attraction. But do you know what? A lot of people like to spiritualize law of attraction. One example that I've used over the years, and I'll just grab that one because I've used it before and I know it well. Imagine a guy gets out of jail, and he, he's a shady character, gets out of jail, and he decides he's going to look for work, but he already knows he's got a record, and legal work is not really probably going to be an option for this guy. So already he's thinking, what am I going to do? He's going to go, for his parole officer, he's going to go down and sign up for a job at 7-Eleven, but that's not his lifestyle. His lifestyle, he needs to make some more money. So he goes out drinking late at night, hooks up with some people who are into amphetamines and other things. They're doing drugs, they're doing all this. And he's looking for work. So somebody comes along and says, hey, heard you drove trucks. He's like, yes, I did. He's like, you want a job? The guy says, what you paying? They say, paying X, Y, and Z. He says, what am I carrying? The guy says, you don't ask. This job is, you don't ask. You give it to these people, drop it off, they're going to dump it in the ocean, but it's none of your business. What do you care? He goes, I don't care. Pay me $5,000 and I'll do it. Law of attraction works for them too. So we try and make law of attraction this very spiritual thing, but it's not. On the level that it's not, it's a law. It operates in the universe. It works for everybody. But one of the key components in the story that I just told is going to come down to two things. Who is at the center of your personal reality? Who is it?
Me.
That's right. It's you, right? You said me, it's you. I get it, right? At the center of your personal reality, you are at the center of that personal reality, which actually means that people are revolving around you as if you are the sun. Follow? They're revolving around you as if you're the sun. They're revolving around you. People, places, things, times, and events. You really are important. Because things are revolving around you. People, places, things, times, and events. They're revolving around you. Understand? Now, who's also important in that story? I told you out of the list of people, places, things, times, and events, what was the most important one? You underlined it and put an asterisk next to it. People. People. So if y'all want to better your life, you got to find the right people. Take a look around the room. Look at your neighbor. Turn around. Look at you. Yeah, turn around behind you. Look back. Say hello. Wave hands. Wave hands. Check it out. Ooh. Are these people people? They're people, right? Getting together, and of course, Leah, of course. Qigong awareness is, mascot, of course. So, when you look around the room and you see people, in general and somewhat specific, these are the kind of people you want to attract. These are the kind of people you want to have relationships with. And I'm not saying it has to be exactly like this or that kind of relationship. Don't limit it. Come to a room like this, have a common intention. And that's very powerful. Understand? So at the center of this dynamic, there's you, and you are hardwired to be a metaphysical being. But you've been taught that's not true. So it's going to take some convincing. Hence, Qigong. You're going to have to convince yourself that you're metaphysical because you won't believe it until you experience it. And when you experience it in the way that I did, and your back heals, and all of the people, places, things, times, and events in your life change, and they get better, that's when you go, wow, this really works. And I do have a say. Okay? my path, as you know, I'm a healer, right? That's my path. I'm also a coach. I'm a private coach, personal coach, life coach, however you want to think of that. But first and foremost, I'm a healer. That's how I operate. Okay? If you're out there on the street corner and something's not quite right, I am going to bring you healing. Whether you pay me, don't pay me. Okay? Some of you were here for class on Tuesday night, met a few folks, gave an example of how I like to operate. I was at Panera Bread, short version of the story, because some others have heard it. I was at Panera Bread waiting for just to grab a bite to eat before coming to offer a session. And two people walked in the door behind me, and a voice in my head literally said, "Buy them lunch." And I said, looked, and I said, "Well, you know I'll buy them lunch." And I was like, "Well, do they need it? Do they, I'm like, they're hungry? I don't know." Like, my ego started evaluating what's going on. Well, anyway, it didn't work out quite as planned, so I literally had to go over to them and kind of bring them into my line. So I walked over, put my hand on the guy's shoulder, and I said, "Hey, you guys are with me." And they went, "Huh?" And the cashier went, "Huh?" And I said, yeah, they're with me, come on over. I said, "What do you guys want, what do you want?" I said, they ordered their lunch, and then I ordered my lunch, and then I said, "All right, well, you guys have a nice day." I said, "Just random act of kindness, blah, 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 have a nice day. Go sit over there, they'll bring you some food." They said, "Well, where are you going?" I said, "Well, nowhere special." They said, "Well, you sit down and eat with us." I said, "Okay, sure." So I sat down to eat with them, and they started talking to me. And one thing leads to another. They said, "What do you do?" And I gave some, I said, "I work at the acupuncture clinic over here, McKay Healing Arts, da-da-da." I didn't say anything else about really what I did. And she goes, "Oh, I've been doing Qigong for 18 years. And I said, "You've been doing Qigong for 18 years? She goes, "Yes, I have." I said, "Where?" She said, "Pennsylvania." I said, "Well, let me tell you who you met." So I showed her, I said, this is me on the internet. And I said, "And look at this. I just got this whole box of books." I said, "Guess what? Here you go." Bam. Autograph, gave her a book. Then they both came to the 5:30 class. The husband was like, he's like turning red the whole time. Like, she was like, and the husband's like, "Oh, what is going on," right? But he did good with it, but he was still like, "Whoa, what the?" Anyway, and they're from out of town. We're just here visiting the daughter, and then they come to 5:30's class. And if you were here on Tuesday, you know what kind of class I taught. It was a bigger mind blower, because I was just getting warmed up for Thursday's class. Here we go. And so,
Good to know.
and it wasn't like kick your butt kind of class totally. It was meditation,
Blow your mind
meditation, right? Right, Frank? It was awesome. Yeah. So it was off the chart, and on the level that it was. And so they had an amazing experience. Then they came up. I introduced them to everybody. They said their hellos and goodbyes and so on. And that's how I live my life now. I used to be the guy that would go in places and people used to say to me when I was younger, "How do they always want to fight you? Why do they always want to fight you?" Because first, when I was younger, I was a victim. I had a victim shirt on. Didn't know it, but I did. So I got picked on like that. And then I got picked on because I had a chip on my shoulder. So I got rid of the victim card. I got rid of the chip card. And how did I do that? That's the bigger part of our work and where we're going this evening into the conclusion. And then some of you already have a book. Some of you will take a book home. Obviously, you train here. Some of you do Qigong, so on. This is the main point. But you've got to get control of your personal reality. You think there's a big reality out there that you can't control. I hope this week that when you're watching the news or you're doing whatever you're doing and you're thinking, "Oh my God, I can't control that," you come back to what you can control. Come back and control your breath. Because I'm going to tell you something, okay? When you go and you do and you do and you do and you overdo and you try and save, let me tell you something about saving. First of all, you already know it's exhausting. And you know what? Saving, many people, they don't want your saving. And the example I gave you on your piece of paper there, later you'll read it at home, but I'll tell you what I meant by it. I worked with sexually abused kids as a therapist in Colorado, okay? And it was a at-risk youth treatment facility in a hospital. And I worked with kids that had been sexually abused by their parents, their brothers, their sisters. The father abused the boy abused the daughter. It was like mayhem in their families, okay? And then literally from that, people killed themselves. People the bottom of the barrel of intensity on that level, right? In the depths of that kind of stuff. And it was very hard when I first got there because I did not understand that people, and I want you to write this down on your piece of paper there. People can be, comma, do, and have any experience they want to be, do, and have. Once you write that down, go ahead and take a deep breath. Right now, there is a biker bar right around the corner. And right now, there are 5 people doing shots on their way to a bigger night of partying. Why are you not there? Right now, there's a girl in this city who's about to be raped. Why are you not there? Right now, there's a healer like me walking into the gym like Melissa and I did the other night, who's walking up the stairs to go to the gym, and Spirit puts me in contact with a woman who can't park her car because she's so discombobulated because her sister just died. And I was very motivated and charged to get into the gym and do my workout. But as soon as I got up those steps and I met that woman, I threw that right out the door. And I had all the time in the world in that moment, as if it was one big, long moment in time. I'm going to be here for as long as this takes. And I saw Melissa looking at me from inside the gym, and she already knew on some level what I was up to, because she knows what I do. She just didn't know whether I knew her already or not. And I'd never met her before. And so I went and parked her car in the rain, and then I came back and counseled her a little bit more, kind of put my hand on her and counseled her a little bit more. Told her to take it easy in the gym. She went in the gym, had her little workout. I took Melissa outside, had her workout outside the gym, around the gym, up and down, back and forth, in and out of the gym. And serendipitously, we ended up at the front porch one more time. As I was coming up the stairs, she was exiting. As soon as she opened the door, she just put out her arms like this and hugged me and started weeping. And I sat there and I held her for whatever, a minute or two. And Spirit will use you for acts of love and kindness. After you do a concentrated session like this, okay, it would be wise of me to tell you this, because after you do a concentrated session like this, especially if you don't know, like, you know, you're somewhat of a beginner at it or whatever, you're not really sure what's all going on, what's working, what's not working, what to expect, so on. This creates a burn that in your life alone by yourself, unless you know a guru that I don't know, you can't create it. You can't create this kind of burn. The average person is not creating this kind of burn. They don't have enough energy in their energy system to give them the kind of energy that I have every day to go out and do the work that I do and write a book and all these other. You can't just get that through unconscious practice. When you get together and you practice consciously like this, you burn. That burn literally starts to melt stuff. See, it's all going, it's just stuff is flying out of you because it will burn it and it starts causing stuff to come out and off of you. Tonight, tomorrow, if you start going into any kind of anxiety, any kind of like anxiety type attack, you're shaking, you're getting shaky, sit on the floor, hold a wooden object, hold a metal object, something to ground yourself, and just let the energy pass through. This is literally for probably 3 days. If you're a Qigong practitioner, which most of you are, some type of horse stance, some type of like hugging the tree pose, and just stand there until you ground it out and it moves through you. Okay? All it is feelings, all it is energy, and all it wants to do is move out. You just gotta help it. Don't try and figure it out. Don't have a panic attack after a panic attack. Let yourself be cleansed and cleared. Stay centered, and then literally some prayer-like work in your notebook over the next 2 weeks. Watch what happens to your life. Somebody's going to buy you dinner. Somebody's going to give you something. Somebody's going to come up and look at you and hold your hands, and they're going to look you in the eyes, and it's going to be a stranger. And you're going to go, this stranger is presencing me right now. I think this is what David was talking about. Why is this happening? It's happening because of what we're doing tonight. Because if you want to meet those kinds of people, this is what you got to do. Do you understand? If you want to meet the guy I was talking about before that's going to pay you to dump toxic waste into the ocean, you got to go down to that bar over there down the street, take some amphetamines, get drunk tonight, and wait around for that guy to show up. 6 weeks from now, he'll show up. He'll give you a contract and say, here's $5,000, go dump this in the ocean for me. Do you understand? If you want good people to come into your life, you want better relationships. I told you, most important thing on that list was the people. So I want you to make very close note of all the people that come into your life over the next 2 weeks. Pay very close attention and ask Spirit, what would you have me do with them? And if you're wise, every day, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? With whom would you have me speak? Don't wait until 2 weeks are over to look at your notebook and remember that one. If you want to make this happen in the next 2 weeks. If you want to make what I'm talking about happen in the next 2 weeks, every day you got to get up and do that. At least for 2 weeks. After that, do what you want. But for 14 days, you got to do it. All right? Good job. Everybody give everybody a round of applause.